All right, so we decided after the cruise that we had to extend our Italy trip just a little bit. So right now, after some planes, trains, and automobiles, we have arrived in Bari. Bari is in the Puglia region of Italy. It's like the very heel of the boot. We are gonna take you guys with us everywhere we go, and we're gonna explore this region. So upon arriving in Bari, we decided to stay in an area directly across from Bari Centrale. Now we had this Airbnb. It is very small, but it served its purpose. We had a double bed and 2 single beds, a really nice shower, and a really nice lanai. It was directly across the street, which was so convenient for us, especially so that we could walk around town and get to the train because we knew we were doing daily trips. Now, for the first night there, we went to this place called Mozzarella e Basilico. This was a recommendation from the people that ran our Airbnb for Napolitan-style pizza and some pasta dishes as well. We tried a variety of food there, and I can't recommend them enough. Everything tasted just wonderfully, and we loved the little mixed frita plate. This was so good with all of the little fried yumminess. Loved their wine as well. Definitely check them out. If you recognize everything behind me, that is actually some of the trulli over here in Alberobello. Alberobello is about an hour bus ride outside of Bari. You can pick it up right across the street from Bari Centrale, and the bus takes you to this beautiful location. The streets are a little bit slippery, so you do have to be careful, but it is really beautiful to walk around here and just really take in all of the trulli. When you're walking up and down the streets over here in Alberobello, you can see everything from little restaurantes to fresh fruit. We saw these enormous figs. It is really awesome just to keep going up and down all the streets just to see what we find. When you take the bus to Alberobello, you will end up right in this area, and you have about a 5-minute walk to get to the area where the trulli are. All of the streets are beautiful. It is a very clean place, but just so you know, there is not a lot of shade there. So try to go first thing in the morning or later in the afternoon because it definitely gets super hot. The views are outstanding. The trulli themselves are very neat to see. There are rows and rows of trulli, as you can see from this view right here. But the one thing that we thought was really awesome was that there was this one little shop that was inside of a trullo, and it had a really cool little collection. Now, they did have some food, they had some pasta, they had all different kinds of souvenirs. I really love the fact that you could just kind of look around and you could get a really good view of all of the trullo, like the walls, the cement, and all of the different food. Tarale and orrecchiete are famous in the Puglia region. They had a bunch of different sauces, peperoncino, and then all the different trullo for the different paesi in Italy. We really liked going into this shop. We got a bunch of little souvenirs from here, especially those cool little towels. It was a really great place. Definitely recommend stopping by there. Also, their prices were really reasonable. After we went to the shop, we decided to walk around all of the little streets. Now, just a warning here, it is way slipperier than it looks, so just be really careful. I had these kind of slippers on and they definitely made me slide a bit. We got to go inside and check out the roof. It's a really cool story of how the people would take down their roofs every year during tax season to make their houses have a lower charge and then rebuild them back. The colors really pop, as you can see up against the blue sky. It is gorgeous just to take a bunch of pictures. We saw people posing all over the place and really getting some great photos in. Now, if you are going to stay through lunch, there are a couple restaurants. The prices are pretty elevated compared to the rest of Bari and Puglia. It was definitely more of a touristy area, but still worth seeing. For us, we decided that we were just going to go for a couple hours in the morning and then head back to Bari Centrale in order to get some food. We really enjoyed seeing the little farmers market area they had there, all of their fresh fruits and all of their olives and tons of tarales and different kinds of nuts. It was really something to see. There are some restaurants that aren't open until a little bit later, so make sure you check the times before you go. If you're contemplating taking the hour bus ride, I do think it's worth it. This is definitely something to see, and you can't really see this in any other region. So check out Alberobello. For the next night in Bari, we went to a place called Soho. Now, this is a Napoletana-style pizza place as well, and then they have some classic Barese dishes, like orrecchiete and like this rice dish, which has some seafood in it, and then also some slivered potato. We love the pizza here. I will tell you, just having that fresh prosciutto on top was amazing, and of course, you can't go wrong with orrecchiete. For passeggiato, we decided to walk up and down the old streets of Bari. It is just gorgeous checking it out. The little windy areas and all of the lights and everybody just hanging out. It is a beautiful place to see. I definitely think you should add this to your trip. If you are headed over to Italy and you have a few extra days, this is really worth seeing. The old castles and forts and just walking around the town itself was wonderful. And don't forget, you have to get pastry when you're over in Italy. Okay, so we are day 3 in Bari, and today we are taking the train over to Monopoli so that we can check out the area. It's a really easy process. You just get to the train station, you pick out which time works for you, grab your ticket, validate it, hop right on. And it costs about €3 a person each way. Okay, so here's the thing about trains in Italy, is that you may be headed to Monopoli, but you need to figure out the train's final destination. So in this case, it's Fasano, which is one stop past Monopoli. So you need to find the train that's going to Fasano, and then you need to check and double check the track, because sometimes they switch them at the last minute. When we arrived in the town of Monopoli, it was about a 10-minute walk to get into the city itself. We checked out this beautiful cathedral before walking around town. We even saw a model doing a photo shoot, which was pretty cool. The streets are definitely a little bit slick as well. You have the limestone with a little bit more texture here, but walking up and down each of the alleys, you can see everything from candy shops to restaurants, and we stopped by this Candy Lisa spot, and they just had barrel after barrel of sugary sweets. So this was a really cool spot to see, especially being in the middle of Monopoli. Now afterwards, we went into this little area where they were catching some fish. It was gorgeous. I absolutely love the contrast of the limestone with the blue boats, with the beautiful clear water. It was really something to see. This kid was catching fish all day, so it was really nice to check it out and kind of talk to him for a little bit. This area is so walkable. Most of it is pretty flat. There are some steep areas, but for the most part, it is very doable, and it's not an exhausting trip where some other places that we had visited were a lot of inclines. The churches, the old architecture, everything is just gorgeous. There was an art show there while we were there, and we got to swing in and check it out. The artists were meeting with the people, and they have all different events in this area, so definitely check ahead before you arrive. Now, we can't go anywhere without checking out the ocean front, and this was beautiful. There are actually Airbnbs in this area right here in these white buildings, so if you're looking to stay somewhere that is oceanfront, this would definitely be a great location. We really enjoyed this entire day in Monopoli, and one of our favorite parts was grabbing lunch here. Now, they are known for their seafood, and obviously being this close to the ocean, you know you're going to get some really great food. So we stopped by this restaurant right as they were opening. They were so gracious and nice. Their olives were fantastic. The tomatoes were so good. The bread was wonderful. Everything that we tasted here was really fresh and just so flavorful. Of course, we had to get the orrecchiete, the fresh fish all fried up. It was so tender. Everything here was fantastic. I highly recommend checking them out. And by the way, don't skip out on those figs. One of the most famous things in Bari is the orrecchiete lane. There are a bunch of nonnas over here that make orrecchiete and sell them all day long. We're going to take you guys through. Okay, so let me preface this with not everybody is selling fresh made orrecchiete. You can clearly see the difference between the ones that are handmade versus the ones that have been most likely made in a factory and are just being sold at each lane. So for this particular trip, I was looking for one person in particular, and that was Nunzia. I had seen Nunzia on all all forms of social media, and I was really hoping that we got to run into her this day. And we lucked out because she had just come outside and just started making some pasta. This is her table, and you can see her working so hard. Her hands are so strong. I could not get over the way she was kneading the dough and just rolling it out into ropes. We watched her for a while. It was so quiet and peaceful on the street. Everybody was just standing there in awe, just watching her roll out rope after rope of pasta and then using her knife skills so that she could form them into the orrecchiete. Now, orecchi in Italian is ear, and that's where this pasta got its name from. It looks like an ear with the way that it pops up when she pulls it through the knife. So these were the large ones. They make small ones as well, but the day that we were there, she was just popping out some of the large ones. Now, she doesn't speak much English. She solely speaks Italian, but she was so gracious and wanted to take a picture with us, and it was really sweet. Being our last night in Bari, we decided to go to this place called Honest. Now, it turns out it is the sister restaurant of Soho, so we should have known right then and there that we were in good hands. They had some red high heels hanging from the place and some wild decorations, but it was just cool. I really liked the vibes there. The pizza was awesome, just like before, but the mixed grilled plate was definitely the winner. If you guys get to check this place out, do not skip on this plate. It was so much meat. It was so fantastic. Love the potatoes. Definitely try it. And we had to end every night with some gelato from Jerome. Their gelato was some of the best that we had throughout this entire trip, just so creamy and fantastic. We hope you enjoyed our recap of our 3 days over in Puglia. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down below. I am happy to answer them. And as always, if you're looking to book a trip to Italy or anywhere else in the world, please feel free to reach out to me. I will leave all my contact information down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Arrivederci.